23rd, 2024.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair recognizes the ranking member for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. and Mrs. Fitzgerald, thank you for sharing the story of your son's life and his service to the community. In addition to being a member of the Temple University Police Department, where he worked to keep college students and the university community safe, your son was also a father of 5 and an active member of Swagger House Run Club and Black Men Run Philadelphia, which both organize group runs through Philadelphia to raise awareness around gun violence. I appreciate your being here, and I offer you my deepest sympathies for your loss. I must say that the people of Philadelphia do not appear to share your opinion and that of Mr. Gerace and Mr. Bichetto of District Attorney Krasner since they reelected him. Mr. Garber, the civil suit against the teenager who shot and killed Sergeant Fitzgerald alleges that the killer suffered from mental instability, a propensity for violence, and a strong interest in possessing and using firearms. It also alleges that he showed signs again and again that he presented a high risk of harm to himself and others. Mr. Garber, how could the Federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Act, a federal red flag law, or HB 1018, a similar Pennsylvania measure, have prevented this shooter or others like him from accessing firearms, potentially saving the life of people like Sergeant Christopher Fitzgerald?
Thank you. Extreme risk protection orders are designed to help give family members who understand someone's in crisis or law enforcement an opportunity to temporarily remove the firearm. And because firearms are so fatal when used, as we've heard today, unfortunately, removing it gives us time to get the person to get help. And so there may be real evidence in that case that if extreme risk protection orders existed here in Pennsylvania, either through state or national law, that it could have prevented the shooting. It's also, though, worth noting that, as I understand it, the shooter, being under 21, could not purchase the firearm on his own, and I'm unaware of exactly where the firearm came from in these cases, and so we should also look at that question as well.
Mr. Garber, last Congress, under Democratic control, this committee led the passage of the federal Extreme Risk Protection Order Act in the House. Last year, also under Democratic control, the Pennsylvania House passed their red flag law. Both bills passed their respective chambers with overwhelming support from Democrats and the support of some Republicans, but neither became law. What is your response to the lawmakers across the country who have voted against or criticized extreme risk protection orders?
I think these lawmakers are out of touch with their constituents, frankly. The only place gun safety laws like extreme risk protection orders are partisan is in the Capitol buildings. In Pennsylvania, over 80% of Pennsylvanians support red flag laws, and that includes people of all persuasions. It includes gun owners, it includes conservatives, self-identified conservatives, and Republicans. We need tools like this because when someone is in crisis, when they can get their hands on a gun, it puts everyone else at risk.
Mr. Garber, what does the research show about the rates of gun deaths in jurisdictions that have passed red flag laws?
The rates are lower when you have an extreme risk protection order and other gun safety laws on the books.
Thank you. Mr. Garber, are you aware of cases where people have spent 10, 20, 30 years in prison for crimes of which they were ultimately exonerated?
It's not, I'm sure that is the case, but I'm not aware of it. It's not something I study deeply.
Are you aware of the case in New York in which 5 black youths were convicted of raping a jogger in Central Park in 1989 and spent years in jail, and in which Mr. Trump, as he was then, demanded the death penalty, in which they were subsequently exonerated?
I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with the generalities of the case.
Do you think that if death penalty laws give the risk of innocent people ever being executed?
Ceasefire PA doesn't have a position overall on the death penalty in these cases. We look at gun safety laws that can prevent the victims from being created in the first place.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Gerace, about a year ago, the governor of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, said that the divide in America